The sponsor of Liftoff with Keith is the one and only CompassStrategicAdvisors.com, an experienced partner to help you navigate everything from cap tables to stock option and compensation plans and all types of backroom and marketing services. There is no better friend to the startup CEO than Compass. Check them out at CompassStrategicAdvisors.com. Okay, so what do Iraq, SpaceX, and the EV boom and autonomous freight have in common? Well, my guest today, Kevin Damoa, is a former Army combat vet who spent 2 tours in Iraq working in railhead logistics. Not an area I knew a lot about, but it comes from his work at SpaceX, where he held senior roles there and at places like Canoe and Exos and Romeo Power, and saw the electrical vehicle boom and bust from the inside. Now he's the founder and CEO of a hot new startup called Glide Technologies, which is building autonomous vehicles that can move freight between road and rail, attacking one of the biggest bottlenecks in the global supply chain. And here's the part that really caught my attention. Glide says it's built 3 vehicles for roughly $8 million, while competitors have spent 80 million for the equivalent output. So what are we going to talk about on today's episode of Liftoff? What the Army taught him about logistics, what SpaceX taught him about building hard tech, physical AI, the EV boom, and what about all this capital and fundraising and the road to rail problem? Man, so many fun topics. From combat logistics to rocket logistics to autonomous freight. Kevin Damoa, welcome to Liftoff. All right. Well, listen, let's get into it, Kevin. I think, well, first of all, thank you for your service too before. And and look, Iraq and Elon, I'm not sure which is more of the challenging assignment, but we will get all into that, huh?
Let's do it, man. Let's glide.
So yeah, I did mention earlier about the SpaceX thing and your service. So but I think the problem you're trying to solve, and you've got such a nice, great momentum going already. Talk to me about this road to rail problem. Let's set the context here properly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would do it a disservice without giving a history lesson, right? 1916, we had 250,000 miles of rail here within the United States. With the Transcontinental Railroad, that was the primary way that you ship goods. It was like, if you're going to ship something or anything, you're going to ship on the rail. And then we had a great general that fought in a war that saw how that highways could actually move things really, really fast. So, President Eisenhower saw that you can move tanks across the Autobahn and brought highways to America, and that made rail less attractive, right? As we built more highways and started to ship more, highways became or trucking became the thing to do. And as unity of economics came to scale, trucking became the primary way you did things. So folks use less and less rail. And then the invention of containers came about, and you saw that you can put those on truckings more easily than rail, because rail had this problem called transloading, where you had to actually take that piece of conveyance, add an additional piece of equipment in order to get that box from road to rail. So it made rail not sexy. It made it inaccessible.
Right.
So what Glide does is we fix that problem in between. Use road or rail as a commodity or a modality of choice. We pick whatever option is the best for us. Whereas a lot of the times rail is the best option, just because of it's a long highway that's a lot of times
Yeah.
in very convenient places. So what Glide does is we make rail more accessible by removing those touches, removing those capital pieces of equipment, and then streamlining that process and reducing it down to one vehicle, one move, and then one person or no people at all
Yep.
as a part of that value train. So that's Glide.
That is it. So where are you at on your journey on the rail then?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're still in prove out phase. So we've built great products. We have two glider rims, which is our main product. That product, we call it our transload in a box. So for your viewers that they don't know, glider rim is our vehicle that's built on the back of a Peterbilt or a Freightliner or a Volvo, a Class 8 chassis. What it does is it has a hook lift on the back of it, capable of picking up a fully loaded 20-foot container, putting on the back of itself. It has a high rail kit on it as well. So we're able to drive over to the railroad tracks, get on the track after we've picked up the box ourselves, and then drive down the track. And then in reverse, we get off the track as well, same vehicle. Then we have Raiden, which is our autonomous vehicle that we actually build in-house. We have 2 of those built. And that is a platform that has road and rail wheels on it as well. And we access the rails, the same exact thing. We'll still need material conveyance, forklifts, or cranes to drop that piece of conveyance or that increment, that pallet, that container onto it. But we eliminate the other steps that come behind it. So that's where we are right now.
Yeah, and by the way, listeners of this, Glide has some very cool videos on their website that show this product, and it really brings it to life. Really enjoyed watching those, Kevin. Um,
Yes.
yeah, so how much of
Thank
this is really built on the back of what you learned through that military experience, both the product and the need?
I think everything, everything throughout my 25 years of logistics experience, and a lot of that has been spent in the military. I spent, close to 20 years in the Army and Air Force, running logistic operations, both on the road and rail side, for the
Mm,
air side as well.
wow.
And it all poured into the rigor, as well as, building out technologies that actually work sustainably underneath really, really harsh conditions. And a lot of that pedigree is put into the product. The cool factor comes from the SpaceX side, where
Yeah.
you space engineering and you pair it with those legacy robust systems. And then the next step is taking that emerging technology with physical AI and then combining them all from legacy to the cool factor to what's happening right now and where we're going right now as a species.
Yeah, in between the military and SpaceX, so you spent a fair number of years in the EV space too.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I did a lot of mobility, e-mobility, and micromobility. So I spent about a decade in that, from Romeo Power as an early employee. I think I was employee number 18 at Romeo Power, vice president of industrialization, helped them go public during that time. XOS Trucks, I was vice president of supply chain operations, worked in engineering and manufacturing with those folks as well, helped them stand up manufacturing facilities throughout the
Right.
U.S. and Mexico, and then helped them go public via SPAC, and then went off to Canoe, another EV company, where helped them as their first vice president of logistics, environmental health and safety, and then they went public as well before going off to Harley Davidson's e-bike company, Serial One, and supporting them with distribution and operations there. So
Wow, all kinds of crazy automated experiences
yeah,
and supply chain and improving efficiencies, improving economies of scale too, which we'll get more into. But what did the EV space teach you about, bringing revolutionary, sometimes evolutionary technologies, I guess, to market, but doing it in a way that you're not on the government payroll or
yeah,
budget, which is kind of nice. But
yeah.
the business of God, we got to, we'll raise some money, but we got to get to revenue. We got to get to, some forecast that's going to make investors excited about what we're doing. So really building profitable businesses.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, great question, Keith. I mean, it taught me a few things. I think the first question, first item it taught me was you can build things that look familiar to everyone, right? The electric vehicles look like every other car, except for the powertrain is different. Electrification is a little different. The second one is how do you build a business, and inject cash for every stage of that business as the the product matures,
Yeah,
and as the customer footprint starts to evolve as well. And then how do you raise money when all of that happens, on the other end, and as well as make your investors happy that invested in it,
right.
if you make it right. I mean, it is
Yeah,
a hard thing to do. And then the last thing that it taught me was culture is everything. You can build a great product, You can raise a bunch of money, but if you don't have a team and culture that is cohesive in order to survive, those periods of pedigree, as you go through the seed and pre-seed and Series A or whatever it may be, then your business will fold. One thing that SpaceX taught me was, we were all SpaceXers. We had really, really hard, long days, but we all rode the same way, and we're all about mission. The mission was much bigger than what we were. So
Yeah.
ego was checked every single day because we
Yeah.
believed in us being interplanetary species. Whereas I've been at businesses where it's like I'm the man that's running this company and I'm making these processes go, and you get a whole company that's built that the same way. You are now bigger than your mission. So that process played itself out through the different companies that I was aligned with, and some did it better than the others. So
Yeah.
I made a point at Glide to fixate on culture, amongst everything else
From day one.
from day one.
Wow. So let me dig into that a little bit.
Okay, please.
When did you have the idea for Glide, and when did it go from idea to sorry, Elon, I have to do this? I know I love the SpaceX mission, and I'm excited about the stock market IPO, and and all those great missions because that was fun to watch on the website, right? That was
Yeah.
some crazy stuff. But when did you say, look, I gotta go do this?
Yeah, absolutely. It was actually way after SpaceX, but I love that. I love that plug. I was actually at Harley Davidson, building e-bikes and distributing around the world. COVID happened around that time as well, and
Yeah.
I sat back and I watched infrastructure just crumble.
Yeah.
Just ports and roads and rails and
Oh,
uh, you
right,
know
right.
the driver shortages, and you just saw the cost of everything start to go up, and then the labor unions happen. It was a complete logistical conundrum, that happened. And I looked at myself like, dude, you spent your entire career like building these great machines and running great logistical processes, and now you're building toys. You have everything in your body to help solve this problem. Get out of being comfortable,
Yeah.
and get to solving this problem for the world. So I saw that upon myself. So launched the company into stealth in 2021, brought it out of stealth in 2022. Tried to do a little bit of fundraising as an area that I didn't know anything about. Talk about going through different periods of time,
Yeah.
and then got our first investment. Got our patent awarded in 2024. Got our first investment in 2025, and then 2025 is when all the stars aligned. We got our blessings from the Lord, and we raised our first money, and built our first team. So yeah,
That's wild. So
yes, sir.
now you're at that fundraising. You've got that problem to solve. How did you figure out the economics to build something on an $8 million budget versus that $80 million budget that the other guys were performing? How did you find that breakthrough in economics? Because that's major.
Yes, major, absolutely. I feel it. I attribute it to my time in supply chain.
Mm,
When you're in supply chain, you understand what things should cost. You get your should cost, your make versus buy, and you identify what you're able to make at the lowest amount. And that's what we've done. We've been very cost conscious, and how we've deployed capital out. Whilst paying attention to our fiduciary duties as a venture backed company, and doing things incrementally. Looking at non-dilutive funding as a mechanism, as we utilize what's in our coffers, to actually propel us towards that non-dilutive funding, so we can keep our business going in the right direction without diluting our capital. I mean, diluting our equity, all at the same time. And then the other end is leveraging debt, and on the other end for because we're building vehicles. So
right.
it's go to folks that can give you debt and you can pay that back instead of spending on
Dilute.
capital that costs a lot. Absolutely. So
More dilution. Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's talk about that just for a second. It's kind of interesting. So, now you're in the catbird seat and you're watching a lot of other companies operating. What do you think of when they're showing off an MVP or they're explaining their use of capital? When you see them, what are the mistakes that you commonly observe?
Yeah, I think that folks, speed to market. Folks want to get their product in customers' hands fast, and that's a great path to have. However, one thing that I don't see is evaluating your risk profile. So you take an industry that looks at like trying to change truck and rail like they're vampires and it's garlic,
Yeah.
and as soon as you make a mistake with your new MVP, they're like, I knew it. I knew that that thing wasn't going to work. Right. So if they
Yeah.
took the time to evaluate and got their system right before they put it into a market,
So
um, you know,
is the mistake not figuring out the customer need well enough or not figuring out the supply chain well enough, or where does that disconnect happen? Or maybe it's all the above.
yeah, I think it's all the above, right? So the pain points are evaluated when they first formulate their MVP. I think
Yeah.
the next is the technological the piece is does my widget work to solve this pain point at the level that I'm explaining to that customer, or
Yeah.
do I overlap my pain of ignorance with the customer's pain to so we're just in a pain pool. So I
Yeah.
think if folks take the time to do their MVP in isolation, right,
Yeah.
before you put it into a customer's hand, I think that's the best path. It may cost you a little bit more time. It's definitely going to cost you more money, but you're
Yeah.
not passing on your pain with the customer. I think that a lot of folks say it's good if your customer is along with you for the pain journey, but you made your product in order to solve the pain for them. So don't bring it along, bring them along with the pain journey. Solve for
Yeah.
that pain first, and then you'll have other things that come along the way because it is a new solution. But make sure your solution doesn't add on to what it actually does. It solves for some of it, and then they can evolve through the rest.
Yeah, Kevin, I like that a lot. Let me double click on that part of your journey. You once started a battlefield at TechCrunch, which is I'm very familiar with that. That was a big win.
Yeah,
And you from a high 5,000 foot level, making all the right moves,
yeah. Thank you.
checking all the boxes, checkpoints, and look how humble you are. But I have a feeling, because you've been around a while, that you've still had a few mid-course corrections and some checkpoint Charlies that didn't go your way. That
Absolutely.
Yeah, so take me through, like, how do you manage that journey that you're on and keeping the trains running on time?
Yeah, man, the great analogy. I mean, every day is a derailment. I'll tell you that. Sitting
There's a
in the
good
seat,
analogy. Yikes.
you know, yeah, absolutely. Sitting in the seat, building a brand new technology, trying to implement it in the world that deserves it.
Hmm.
With its struggles and its hurdles. I mean, from personnel decisions for onboarding, for the right or wrong reasons, to selecting technology partners that may or may not fit at the time and place, to not selecting the greatest capital partners,
Yeah.
or folks that are going to be decision makers for the company. It happens on the daily basis, or not taking that meeting with that person because you thought another meeting was more important. Prioritization is another one, right? It's a balance and a dance every single day. And do I get it wrong? I mean, 100% every day. I don't, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking to get a B plus every single day.
No,
Um,
no, you're in it. Come on. I know
yeah.
that you so so what how many people are you now?
So we have 15 in total.
Yeah. And where are you at on the revenue side? I know the product is going and you're still very early on that whole side, but people have to realize, I mean, hardware and trains and autos have a different life build.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the revenue side, we're pre-revenue still. We are taking our time. I think it goes back to your question of MVP and commercializing and capitalizing on revenue. We've chosen not to take pennies or dollars from folks while we prove out our technology. We want to say, hey, you like it, you're going to buy it. And the way that our model works is we are the new FedEx, Maersk, JB Hunt of the world.
Wow.
We are owner operators. So, when a person, signs up with us, they're signing up for a service. And, it's a bonus that we build cool stuff for folks to use. And we charge them at a very low cost as a part of that. So since we are a service provider, we want to make sure that it's turnkey, it works every single time, and you're very comfortable with it. So we're spending the rest of 2026 servicing folks essentially, for free. And then in 2027, we'll turn on that spigot. Just first getting that product validation, getting that market validation, making sure folks are happy, both on the commercial side and the defense side. And then 2027, we say we checked all boxes. Now we have a blessing from everything. Let's go ahead and charge some money.
So is it crawl, walk, run kind of thing? You're in the crawl stage now. 27 will be walk, and then 28, you're really going to be all the different models cooking and the water's turned on pretty high. If
Absolutely. Absolutely. We
if I'm
say
in your last,
crawl,
if I'm
walk, and glide.
well, run, then glide. So you got four stages of liftoff
Yeah.
in your SpaceX analogy. And I would
Yes.
imagine that waterfall chart you're sharing at those board meetings are going to reflect that. I see tremendous opportunity. Look at all the challenges in terms of long haul freight, just getting drivers and, the sad number of injuries and accidents and some other of the challenges. Of course, that can happen in EV and autonomous, but I'm seeing some good data at least. So is that the kind of course
Yeah.
we're on?
Absolutely. It's definitely the course we're on. And the other side that's working against us is, the logistics, industry is in the silver age. So, you're seeing the legacy folks, start to retire or trid out to easier jobs for this next journey in their lives.
Yeah,
And then you see the new gen are like, there's no way I'm sitting in a truck or behind a railroad car or moving a pallet with a
yeah,
forklift and doing it every single day.
yeah,
So how do you offset that? We still got to consume. We consume way more than we've ever consumed in the world before. We have way more products coming into our ports. We have larger ships coming into our ports now with the same, funnels, right? Imagine a faucet. You turn on the faucet's only so far in diameter that you can get, water out. That's what we're facing right now as we start to pack in these ports and our points of embarkation to start to balance out our consumerism, and then you don't have folks to catch it. So I think that autonomy, our physical AI, supports in getting us there.
Kevin, just say it as it is. The whole world is coming your way, right?
Yeah, it feels like
All the key
that's good.
trends. Same with autonomous driving, man. I'm in the Bay Area in California, right? And there's so many Waymos, and I know Elon's going to take over, and there's like five different companies taking over autonomous, and I don't see that
Yeah,
slowing down at all.
no, not at all, not at all. What part
So
of the Bay
then,
Area?
near San Francisco. So I mean, it seems like every other car is a Waymo or a Tesla.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Yeah, you got
Okay.
Zoox, Bubble Taxi,
Oh
Waymo,
yeah,
Uber, everybody's there. Yes.
yeah, and I love them all too. I just I'm driving less and less to begin with, and now way less. So let me get to a few quicker questions. I'm taking too much of your time, and I don't want to be a footnote on your next board meeting. I distracted you from the work you had to do. Uh, what talk to me though about your SpaceX experience. That's such an enigma still to me. I haven't studied it, but I watch in amazement. What did that teach you as a key team member there?
Yeah, absolutely. It taught me what's possible. I'll tell a quick story, right? So
Yeah,
we built the Dragon capsule and unveiled it to the world. I can't remember the year now, but we unveiled it to the world live TV, and then we needed to get it in Washington D.C. And I believe in about 4 days,
yeah,
4 days time. So you're thinking an oversized item, needs to go across state lines to get to the middle of CD to be unveiled. And looking at it from my seat at the time, and my mind state was like, that's an impossibility. I need to build a box. I need to put it on the transport. I need to get permitted and everything else. Elon said it can happen. You just got to put your yourself into it. And it happened. We actually delivered the vehicle to the site 12 hours before we were supposed to be there. And that was all through the power of belief, ingenuity, and actually, putting in, we would say, being scrappy and making it happen. And that was the mentality every single day. It was like, this was an assignment. You're going to figure out a way to get it done, and nothing is impossible,
It's almost like
right?
the
So,
willing suspension of disbelief. Like
absolutely.
we just gotta like make it real. Even though everyone thinks it can't, we don't see it yet, but we gotta turn it into real.
Absolutely. Because I mean, through our careers and, going to schools and stuff like that, it tells us that things fall within a realm of possibility. And who dictates that? Physics, a piece of it. But, as you see at SpaceX, they've learned how to manipulate physics. So, if you put your mind and heart and body into it, I think that anything is absolutely possible. And
Yeah.
that's what I carried with me every single day. And that's what I've learned at SpaceX.
Yeah, we watched that new Ryan Gosling movie too. We see what the next frontier is
Yeah,
gonna be.
absolutely.
Space.
Hail Mary, great movie. Hail Mary is a great movie.
Hail Mary. Yeah, thank you. So a couple quick questions beyond that, the Elon one, but about your journey yourself. Did
Yes.
you always know you were going to be a founder? Did you always go, I'm doing these jobs, I'm kicking butt for these other companies. I'm going to go do my own thing? Or was it the idea that I saw what had to happen in the long haul kind of space and I had to change that up, like that caused you to say, I got to go do this?
Yeah, transparently, I never wanted to be a founder, nor a C-level person. It was in my cards in my mind to get to and be. I wanted to, service others, and I felt, throughout my career being in the C-suite, it made you inaccessible. So when I saw the issues at the ports and within our infrastructure, I actually went on a job hunt to try
Hmm.
to find companies that fit within it. And everybody was building in local optima. Everybody was building for a constraint as a leg into the problem, but not solving the complete problem. If anything, it was making the problem worse because the logisticians take a long time to adopt anything, just because of the way it is. So, this all boiled out of my frustration for what was out there, and as well as my commitment to solving this problem. So I took a big pill and sacrifice in order to do it. As being an entrepreneur is probably the hardest job in the world. Right? It's you don't get paid much, you don't sleep much, and you don't have a lot of friends in it.
Yeah, you
To
suffer a
lean in,
lot alone.
yeah, it's a lonely journey, even if you're surrounded by a lot of people, because you got to do it yourself. So yeah, I mean that's what it
What
was.
was there something in this journey that surprised you on the positive side? Sounds like you've had a little bit of a reality check in terms of shit, this is harder than I thought or lonelier than I thought. But
Yeah.
is there something that surprised you about how you rose up to the challenge at that sea level?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the level of support across the community, and when I say the community, I mean like the world. If you come up with an idea and folks understand it, the way you present it, and folks find value in it, the world wraps their arms around you like a hug, right? And it's felt in every place. And I didn't anticipate that.
Mm.
I thought it was going to be a lot of, and it still exists, a lot of, oh, that's not going to work, or you're too this, or you're too that. And I find that I'm in a bit of an imbalance where I have more promoters than I have distractors, or to what we're actually trying to do. So that's my biggest surprise.
Kevin, what you're working on is a total game changer for the world.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I know you've got competition. I know you got challenges that are both technical and business and but it feels to me like you've got a lot of wind in the sail. I imagine you've recruited a great team from your network as well.
Yeah.
It seems like you're on a great roll.
I appreciate that, Keith. God has been so good to us. Thank you.
Well, maybe we just leave it there, but I want to say I'm excited for you. I really have enjoyed this conversation and I'm gonna encourage my listeners, check out the website, look what these guys are doing. If you've got some money, you maybe throw some dollars at this thing.
Yes.
Uh, I don't know how you probably got your next round already sewed up, but I'm excited to see these cars on the road, these trains, these boats, everything.
Call them gliders. They're calling them gliders.
I, I hope you keep gliding, Kevin. It was great talking with you.
Absolutely. Keith, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks so much for having me on Liftoff. And I wish you and your audience a blessed and abundant day and the rest of your week as well.
Thank you.